I think you went from an entrepreneur to become an investor. Solaris Bank and the Finleap group. I think it's also your 6th or 7th NOAH conference. And
yes.
I remember our good talks in London. So give me an update on what happened. How did you end up working for Motive?
I thought you would say, how could you end up to being on the dark side? But,
well, you have very dark clothes.
Yeah.
So
our company logo is actually dark. No, so we did Finleap, as you said, building 15 plus fintech companies. Solaris was one of them. Penta was another, which was sold to Konto. Pair Finance.
And for the ones who don't know, when Jan Beckers, Ramin, and the whole group started, you were like the first big. You made the first big bets on fintech. Then was it 10 years ago?
Yeah, 2014. Yeah, I mean, Max and the guys from NOAH23 was around Tamas and Raisin, but there weren't that many. It's true.
Because you did Clark, you did Solaris Bank, there was
Penta, Pair Finance. So there was quite some bets. A lot of regulated bets, also insurances.
And you attracted a Chinese investor, I remember.
We attracted a Chinese investor. Yeah, that was the last time we won NOAH.
Yes.
Ping An. Different. We attracted Japanese investors, but also Chinese investors. Yes.
Okay, and what happened then?
What happened then? Yeah, so we went on with the journey, building different companies, but gladly the ecosystem developed. There were more fintech companies, there were more venture funds. There was more opportunities to grab. I started an investment company, so switching to the dark side, set up my own GP, continued to manage the Finleap portfolio, so I'm still involved, raised the fund, and then after a year, I sold quite early to Motive Partners, the GP, which wasn't so common.
So Jan Beckers became a public investor.
Yes.
And you became
a private investor, exactly.
You guys can't stand still, right? It's unbelievable.
No.
And then how long did you run that GP?
So I ran this GP, Embedded Capital only. I sold the GP, the fund is still there,
yes.
So it's just renamed, basically, right? So the GP Embedded Capital I sold to Motive, and now we're running Motive Ventures with 500 million assets under management in ventures and 5 billion across the platform.
And were you always an investor by heart? Was this?
No, never, actually.
And how did you become then an investor?
That's a good question. So I saw a little bit that the company building journey, which was very exhausting, to be honest. Lost at least one girlfriend and gained 15 kilos, as you can all tell. It was very exhausting. I said, okay, what do I want to do? Want to start one company or doing investing? What I liked about investing, you can optimize times with good people, because it's very exciting to still work with founders, to back the founders. The experience of very vertical focused in fintech, but still helping early stage is appealing, and there's a track record we can build on top of it.
And you invested in mostly fintech?
Only fintech.
Only fintech.
In Germany, would say inselbegabt. So we can only do one stuff, and we only do fintech. Still, also whole Motive. The whole 5 billion is only invested in fintech.
And where's Motive based?
So the headquarters in New York. Most of the people sit in London, and Ventures headquarters still in Berlin.
And is this a fund which is going on for a long time? And
no, the company is quite young. It's also started by an operator. So this is.
So you are like their European arm, or?
I'm the global head of venture.
You're global head of venture.
Yeah. So I run ventures. Our biggest part. So 4.5 billion are in PE, 500 in ventures.
Yes, I got it.
So not the biggest one, but I run ventures.
Well, what's the largest tickets you write for a company? So 500 is quite a lot, right?
Yeah, so we have seed and Series A investor. So we have
like
200.
10 million is the largest?
This is the largest. Yeah, I would say like our ballpark is between 2 and 7.
So when we prepared for this NOAH, for the first time, we reviewed all sectors. I downloaded the Crunchbase data, LinkedIn employee growth, and you have it in the Bible if you haven't downloaded the Bible yet. And what you see is that fintech raised like only 20% less than the entire SaaS sector. And I found that quite shocking. But then I learned that TransferWise, obviously Wise now, and Starling, and even Revolut and Monzo, they're all breaking to profits, right?
Exactly.
But yet, they raised all so much money as a sector collectively. Is it like an 80-20 rule? 80 of those didn't make it, and then 20% make it, but they make it real big? And then the question I really want to get to, are there many fintech opportunities still out there? Is it now an automation, or is it a B2B space, or Where are you looking at?
Yeah, so 7 years in also, I asked myself, this was like a couple of years back, I asked myself, is there still something to go into Fintech? But as you can see, I mean, if you want to answer the question yourself, we would have never invested in Zoom, I guess, right? Because when Zoom came up, there was already a Google Hangout, there was Skype. It's a little bit the same in Fintech. There's constant involvement on especially the piping, so really back office, middle office system, a lot of technology, a lot of an ecosystem which has been created over the last 10 years, which you can now make use of. So actually our first investment, Nelly Solution, it's a healthcare payment company. They're using 5 other fintechs to build on top of them. They use the API on Stripe, they use an API for KYC, they use an API for scoring. So what happened in fintech is a little bit what happened from mainframe system to go to cloud computing. Thanks to cloud computing, everyone could develop apps quicker, faster out of the living room. Now you can do the same with fintech. Now you have an ecosystem of APIs, of SDKs, of license as a service, of lending as a service, and you can build more specialized use cases. But at the same time, you need to really modernize the infrastructure and the piping.
It's probably the largest ecosystem there is. Unlike retail, which is not a digital industry, apart from e-commerce, of course. But then, if you look at payments and credit cards, I mean, I was shocked to see that Visa is worth $500 billion, 500 billion. If you add up the market cap of all the payments companies, is that the fintech opportunity? Could you disrupt the traditional way of how money is moving around? Or is it so incumbent and so structured and solid as an industry you can't break into this?
No, you clearly can. I mean, DWS, the asset management arm of Deutsche Bank, announced today that they now issue a stablecoin. I mean, that's how institutionalized we're getting on the whole crypto infrastructure, that Deutsche Bank Asset Management issuing a stablecoin because they're seen as a trusted party. And in fact, the interest change, which many people complain and beg for the mortgage industry, the banks are printing money again. So it will fuel even more investment in technology, and the opportunity is large. I mean, if you look at payment, for example, and you're right with Visa and MasterCard, I mean, a lot of innovation was driven on their innovation, right? That you can pay in the Philippines your cocktail at a bar, or you book your 2,000 euros flight with just on the Visa or MasterCard.
But how much cost is there to their business that they are worth so much? No, I mean, it's at the end, moving money from A to B, they are regulating the roaming. Later, I think we have Hakan coming. They're regulating the roaming market, the telco market, which I think is tiny against this payment market. Is this part of this, what the cryptocurrency people are trying to go against? But changing the currency is only one thing, but moving money from A to B can't be so complicated in the end, no?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it is not that easy. They're running it on their pipes, and it has to do, it must be real time, completely secured, completely funded. So if you know when you accept a credit card payment, you know that you get your money from a complete stranger. It can be coming from anywhere of the world. That's worth something. And I mean, the fees for merchant range from, 0.8% up to 2%, 3%, giving.
They came down a lot. Amex used to charge 4%. Not anymore.
That's why Amex is losing market share.
Yeah. And the chargebacks, do they come down?
Yeah, they come down significantly because the softwares and the
getting better and better.
Much better, but the adoption rises. But if you look at how much money is actually traded not digital, so not via any wallets on any card system, then that's actually shocking. So there's a whole opportunity.
Yesterday I brought my shoes to fix at a shoemaker, and it was like a store from the 18th century, you know.
Cash only?
I thought so. He said, no, I can't do that. So in Switzerland, there's almost no cash.
Yeah, Switzerland. But go to Germany, I mean.
Well, we're going to London in June, so I think that's more exciting. Well, wonderful. So maybe last question. Having been an entrepreneur and solving operational problems, is that an advantage for you as an investor? You said the other people at Motive have also been operators. And yeah, what is your key lesson as an entrepreneur, apart from never give up?
So first of all, investors can be right, is one lesson. Now, jokes aside, I think as an operator, you only think about your company, your problems, and sometimes you don't understand why the investor is deciding not to follow the round, not to invest in your company. And I think what entrepreneur, you need to understand that an investor has a portfolio view. He's not focused on just one company, as you should dedicate it as a founder to the company. And that as an entrepreneur, for my next stage, if I would ever go back to founding a company, I would really take into account how to build together a cap table of investors, but also being mindful about it that the investor is never as dedicated to your business as yourself because they're sitting on a portfolio. At the same time, hopefully, we add value to our entrepreneurs in our portfolio through that experience. And I see this actually when they ask the small questions, not the big questions, because then they really need your help as a trusted partner.
And you enjoy being an investor more than an entrepreneur, I guess?
That is a hard question, but for now it's good.
Well, it depends on the payback, right?